All right. Okay. So, uh, the noun object of the verbal noun. Okay. So this is how to refer to a uh, a uh, a thing that has been being worked upon, or a person who's being worked upon by the verbal noun. So you make a cake. So the cake would be the object of the verb, right? Okay. And so here, yeah, I'm going to be working with a few verbal nouns: a lévig, a scríbhach, a countach, a fechan, seeing, buying, writing, reading. Okay. And the so right here we see some examples. Yeah, my note here. So the noun object of the verbal noun is put into the genitive. So we've worked a little bit with the genitive, and here's where we have the genitive come into play again. And only in this case, it's it doesn't indicate possession like it does when we talked about it before. You know, uh, the house of the family, that is the family's house. It does something else. Okay, so it's um, so here's some examples. Hamia yevik an yor. Okay, I am at the reading of the book. A literal translation, syntactical English would be I'm reading the book. Okay, okay. Vai small I, a skrivik an litrich. She was at the writing of the letter. Okay, literally, or she was writing the letter. Okay. Vayita kaunich nan ulen. They will be buying, be, future tense, buying at the buying of the apples. Okay, and I put at because remember the is an abbreviation of ek, which is at. Okay, and it kind of makes sense literally to think of it that way. At the buying of the apples, they will be buying the apples. Vashina fechen nakirka. Okay, we were at the seeing of the chickens. Uh, oh no, of the chicken. I'm sorry, of the chicken. Okay, we saw the chicken. We were seeing the chicken, not chickens. Okay, okay, okay. All right, little nerdy notation here that the verbal noun is not strictly speaking a verb. It fulfills some of the same functions as the ing form, but it's not quite the same. It's a verb, but it's also a noun. In some cases, it can even be used as a noun. Okay, so anyway, so so little note on the verbal noun. It's a floor wax, a toilet cleaner, a dessert topping. Three amazing uses in one. So okay. Anyway, so the verbal noun has a number of different uses. Okay, so all right, so we have a decision path in the for this particular usage. So right here, I'm talking about this usage, the the uh, the object of the verbal noun, the thing being worked upon by what in English would be the verb. Okay, all right, so. Uh, So we ask, is it singular or plural? Is it definite or indefinite? And if it's plural, what kind of plural is it? Okay. Does it keep the plural stem and add an an like car to carcan, ashik, which is a ferry, to ashikan? Or I don't know why I have that box. Okay. Uh, or is it slenderized? Uh, okay. Boranach, boranich, women, woman, singular, boranich, women, Alapanach, Scot, Scots person, Alapanich, Scots persons, Bartok, poetry, or Bartok would be poetries, which doesn't really work in English, but I just include it so you can see how it would work if there's no change. Okay, how it works with uh, as an irregular plural. All right. Okay. All right. So here we use the root form of the noun, the indefinite singular object. This is the easiest. So Gaelic lore. Okay, so the root form is lore, a book, reading a book. And so we use just the root for the indefinite singular. Okay, a conic car. Car is the root, and that's what we were buying. A foslich doris, opening a door. Okay, a scrivich lecher, writing a letter. Okay, so singular, plural, singular, indefinite. You just use the root form. Okay, okay, all right. Got that? Okay, that's the easiest one. Okay, all right, all right. So uh, sometimes you want to use the for the singular. Okay, and now you use the genitive singular. So we've studied the genitive, and we know how to find it. If you're not sure, you look it in the dictionary, right? You look it up in the dictionary. So, and here we use the genitive. Okay, a yevik an yor, reading the book, uh, or as I said, at reading of the book. Okay, achanachachar, car would be the genitive, so achar, okay, would be of the car. A foslich an dorish, okay, opening of the door or opening the door. A scrivich na litrich, writing the letter. And so, as we learned when we study the genitive, the feminine genitive takes na as the definite article, na litrich. A glaunich na hunica, cleaning the window. Again, we have na. Okay, a klechich an achler. Okay, as I hope we do a lot using the dictionary, at using of the dictionary, an achler. Okay, yeah, using the dictionary. Okay, all right. Okay, so here we definitely use the genitive singular. Okay, now we shift again, a different modality, and this is why we have to ask these questions, these defining questions, the decision path. Okay, okay. So if we come up with a, where are we now? Okay, uh, okay. Uh, the plural, the plural, the indefinite plural object. Okay, in a way, this is easy. Uh, uh, we use first Elamanites where possible. That's the indefinite. Okay, and it follows the ordinary rule for the genitive plural. So now we go to another set of rules. Okay, okay. So, and if you remember the rules for the genitive plural, those made with basically an an at the end. Okay, and as we see, it could be some other stuff before the an, but essentially the an ending. Okay, then the genitive plural is the same as the nominative plural, except that it's lenited. Okay, got that? So this is easy. Acharachan, buying cars, at buying of cars, not of the cars, but of cars. A fechen yilen, seeing boys or lads. Okay, um, on so of at seeing of lads. A foslich gorsen, opening doors, opening of doors. A gal vriskitchen, taking biscuits or getting biscuits. Okay. A gen of klassiken, doing classes. A gen of klassiken. Or a krunikuk vuyen, gathering groups. vuinen, okay, a krunika, to gather, of groups. Okay, so notice these all have the an ending. Okay, so all right. So plurals made by slenderization or other stem changes. Okay, so and as for the genitive rule, in accordance with the genitive rule that we learned, uh, the genitive plural for these that don't take an an ending, we go back to the singular, but they're still united. Okay, so Afechin Valak. So Balak would be the singular, the form of the singular, seeing boys, and just to remind us, the root plural would be Balik. Otokochat, lifting cats. The root plural would be Kach. I'll take off the lenition. A Shelach Ig would be hunting deer. Fey would be the root plural, fey. Let me put in here I'm going to put in a insert. I'm going to insert a column. Yeah, okay. The okay, Gaelic singular. Okay, so Balak, Kat, uh, Fieg. Okay, Gaelic singular. Okay, so you see that the verbal noun phrase follows the singular. Okay, follows the singular because the plural uh, is slenderized or otherwise changed. Okay, otherwise changed, but does not have an an ending. So, in some ways, the an ending is the easiest. Okay, okay, but in both cases, for the indefinite, that is without the, we slenderize. Okay, so the definite plural object, and we studied this. Okay, so we're just adding to the uses that we can make of it. Hmm? The um, uh, we use the article nam before the labials, before what is it? It should be mother bakes fine pies, I think. Okay. Okay, and none elsewhere. Okay, and we don't have lenition. So contrary to the indefinite plural, no lenition. So accountic non-conican, buying the cars, buying of the cars, a foslich non-dorson, opening the doors, opening of the doors, a klekich non-fachleren, using the dictionaries, a kuchikach non-gielen, okay, helping the lads, okay, uh, helping of the lads, okay, okay, okay. And again, according to the rule that we learned for the genitive, if the root noun is pluralized in some other way, say slenderization, then we use the singular noun. A fechin nan balach, seeing the boys. A fechin nan kat, seeing the cats. Okay, got that? Okay, okay. Let's just, all right. Definite plural, non-nom, affecting non-balic, accountic non-carican, apostolic non-dolorous. Indefinite plural, uh, genitive plural, plus lenition where possible. So whether it looks like the root plural or uh, whatever is the genitive plural. So remember the genitive plural for the nouns that don't take the an are just the singular. Okay. And if they do take the an, the genitive plural would be the an form. So accountic hurricane and lenition where possible. If the word can't be lenited, then it can't be lenited. So don't worry about it. Okay. So a foslich gorson. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So let me go. examples. Okay. All right. I don't know why seven keeps on showing up. All right. Uh, so here we have some examples. Car, plural would be caracan, genitive, indefinite plural, caracan, non-caracan. Doris, Dorson, Gorson would be the genitive, uh, indefinite. Then non-Dorson would be the definite. Gila, Gielan would be the plural. Gielan would be the indefinite plural, and genitive indefinite plural, and non-Gielan. Okay, Classican, Classican, okay, Lenited, okay, for the indefinite, and non-Classican, okay, for the definite. Briskich, Briskitchen, that's a biscuit. Briskitchen, Vriskitchen, okay, so that would be Lenited, okay, of biscuits, and non-Briskitchen, of the biscuits. Okay, here's some irregular plurals. Balach, Balich, Valach. So note we go back to right here a form of the root singular and non-Balach. Okay, and non-Balach would be definite plural. Okay, even though Balach looks like the root singular. Kat, Kach, okay, would be the regular plural. Chat would be the indefinite plural because we go back to the root. Okay, if it's lenited. And fear, fe, ear, we go back to the singular. Namfiag. All right. Okay. All right. And then we have I provided a little summary of the rules. Okay. All right. And right here, it's just what we've gone over. Okay. I don't know why we have that. Okay. All right. Okay. So, and here I have a reiteration of the decision path. Is the object singular or plural? Is it definite or indefinite? If it's plural, what kind of plural is it? And again, like I've mentioned before, and then we'll have some exercises. I'll come back to those in just a second. Yeah. Like I've mentioned before, um, one way to learn these rules is to latch on to a particular example that sticks in your head. So very often, at least I find that that's useful for me. Okay, so rather than, let's say, definite, indefinite, then you go to the singular, rather than remember the explicit rule, remember an example. So, uh, yapi nankat, okay, the bed of the cats, nankat, okay, or versus yapi achat, okay, the bed of the cats, akach. Okay, akanik nankarakan, buying the cars, or akanik charakan, lenited, yeah, buying cars. Okay, so whatever makes sense for you, but I find that it's useful to remember a specific example, and then as you go forward, and you want to call up what the proper form is, you go to that example, and that example will guide you, because even though there are many different rules in Gaelic, and sometimes it gets a little puzzling or uh, toncha, twisted, uh, windy, okay, convoluted. Um, uh, uh, they will follow specific patterns. And so if you just remember the pattern, and for me, what I'm trying to say is remembering a specific example uh, calls up that pattern, and then everything else that's in that category, follows that pattern as well. Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. Okay. Clever. All right. So let's go back to share. Okay. All right. So Eckerseeken. Okay. Okay. The following pattern. right, okay. All right, and so we have the rules, and here's um, some of the words that we use: lore, angor, leecher, nalitrich, okay, doris, andorish. Okay, note that the I before the S gives us this SH sound, dorish, doros, dorash. Okay, fachler, an achler. Okay, all right, okay. And plural, car, caracan, characan, non-caracan, Doris, Dorson, Gorson, non-Dorson, Gila, Gilan, Gilan, non-Gilan. Okay. And the note Gila is kind of an odd word. It's one of those words that has a few different meanings. It can mean boy, that is a very young male. Okay. It can mean lad, like very often you'll hear Brits or, Irish and Scots refer to grown men as lads. At the pub. Well, lads, who's buying the next round or something like that, so a kind of a term of affection. It can also mean something like a servant. Okay. Okay. Balak, Balich, Valak. Okay. Nambalach. Okay. So these would be the plural genitive. Kat, Katch, Chat, plural genitive, non-kat. Uh, Coup, coin. Now this is irregular. I'm going to take this out because that's irregular. We'll deal with that later. Okay. Um, Briskich, Briskitchen, Vriskitchen, uh, Num Briskitchen, and class, Classican, the root plural, and then Classican of classes, and non-Classican of the classes. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So what do we have here? Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go here. What was Hamia Fosluch the door? What would you say? Anybody? Anybody?
Andorras.
Andorash. Yeah, Andorash. Hamia Fosluch Andoras. I am
Andor-
opening of the door. I'm at opening of the door. Famia Kaunik. Okay. A lot of examples there. Remember?
Har.
Uh-huh. Karakan.
Oh.
Okay.
And
Karakan. Okay. Karakan. Okay. Okay. I-E, okay, small I, I-E, oh, I-E, affection, the boys. She is seeing the boys. She sees the boys. Remember
Va-
that? Huh?
the- na- Valach?
Num,
Nambalach?
Nambolic. Yeah, the boys. Okay. 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 All right. Vashina Tokal, we're lifting. Do you remember the plural? The root plural for cat would be what?
Catch.
Cat? Yeah. Vashina Tokal Hach. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wait, no. Vashina Tokal Hat. Yeah. Okay. Vashina Tokal Hat. Okay. We were at lifting of cats. The singular. Okay. Singular lenited. Or actually, it's the plural genitive. Okay. Ha'etlechach, the dictionary. Remember
An Akler.
An Akler. Yeah, an Akler. Yeah. Okay. Vashinagal, the biscuits, the biscuits.
Brisketchen.
Uh-huh. Nam brisketchen. Nam brisketchen. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So remember now, one of the things to get you started, I find sometimes it's helpful just to get a push start on something. So if you know it's a the, you know, you can clue into what the sort of the it would be. Okay. So for the plural, it'll either be nam or none. Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's see. So I could put va iet achaunik uh none karakan. None karakan. Okay, so the would be the none. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So uh here's what we want to do is make these definite. So instead of a Foslick Doris opening a door, we want to say opening the door. So what would that be?
Can Doris be slenderized?
Uh-huh. A Foslick, what do you say? On Doris? Doris? On
Doris.
Doris. Uh-huh. Foslick on Doris. Okay. Foslick. Yeah, so these are easy to begin. I mean, you start with with the verbal noun. Okay. Okay. And then a skrivik lecher, writing a letter. We want to write the letter. So that would be a skrivik
Would it
Nalitra.
be on leacher?
na lecher.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And that's something we have to remember that the genitive the for the feminine is na. Okay. Okay. So, and it's tempting, to follow the pattern and say on, but it's na because it's feminine, na litrik. Okay. Okay. So now we want to buy the cars, and that would be accountic
Car.
the
Would it be
what
non
non, very good, and
non hot
then
Harakan?
caracan, very good.
Karakan. Okay, got it.
Caracan, yeah, yeah. Non caracan. No lenition for the. Okay. So we want to see uh a fechin valak, which would be uh uh to seeing the boys would be a fechin. What would the be?
It would be
Bali.
nom.
Nam,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Balak. A fechin nam balak. Okay, clever. Okay. A toko kat. Uh, so we want to lift the cats. A toko. So remember the plural for cat is kach. So it doesn't take the an ending. And so then we go back to what? We go back to
The stem.
the singular. A toko.
Um,
Uh, uh, what would
Nuncut.
the be? Would it be
Nun.
none or num?
Nun.
None.
Nuncut.
None. Did you say none?
Yeah, nuncut.
None cut. Yeah, none. Okay, because it's not a mother bakes fine pies.
Your
Uh,
lips aren't touching. That's how I
no.
remember Mother Bakes fine pies. They're all the when your lips touch to make this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The mother bakes fine pies. That always calls for some sort of M. Okay, in nam or am, something like that. Okay, so a gal vriskitchen. Okay, getting uh, um, biscuits. So agal, the biscuits would be
Nambriskitchen.
nam briskitchen. Very good. Yeah, okay, nam briskitchen. Yeah. Agal nam briskitchen. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Professor,
Yeah.
uh, quick question about number 5 there. So, why does cot get the definite article non if it's not? Is that the plural that we're dealing with there?
Yeah.
It is the plural. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
My bad. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh, the I don't know if I dealt with this here. Okay, so the um the singular. Oh, did I say that? The
Yeah,
singular stays singular. The singular indefinite stays sing. No, I don't think I said it. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'll add that. Okay, so uh, the singular. Okay, I'll put a note here. Okay, the singular indefinite stays the root. So, uh, stays the genitive. Okay. A fechin balich. Um, uh, Arui kirka. Uh, chasing a chicken. Okay. Uh, seeing a boy. Okay. Singular indefinite stays the root, stays the genitive, the base genitive. Okay. So a feckin' balich. Okay. 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 Uh, so down here, down where you asked the question, vashina toko hat, cats, uh, or toko non-cat. Okay. So the, the, uh, uh, lifting a cat would be a toko catch. Okay. Catch being the singular genitive. Okay. So here's the indefinite goes to the genitive noun. Okay. I hope that's not too confusing. Well, the whole thing's confusing. Okay.
no,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. But here's the indefinite is where we use the the singular genitive. Okay, the indefinite, atoko kach. Okay. All right. Okay. If we see after the verbal noun, what looks like it might be a form of the root, that's a plural. Okay, that's a plural. Tokochat. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, so how would we say reading the book?
Alevik.
Ayevik,
Uh,
an,
is it just unlever?
on your. Yeah. Okay. On your. Okay. Buying cars. So, accountic, not the cars, but just cars.
Harken.
Cotter.
Kari.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Cotterkin. Yeah. Accountic Cotterkin. Cotterkin, no. I don't know why it uh did that. Okay. And a Cotterkin. No, my uh Oh, okay, okay. Not slenderized there. Uh, okay, Hurricane. Oh boy, I lost the ability to spell here. Okay. Okay. Hurricane. Was that Lunition? Okay, there you okay. Seeing the boys. A feckin?
Feckin nam balachen?
Nam Balak.
Nam balach. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I gotta drill my genitive plurals because that's the thing
yeah,
that's tripping
yeah,
me up
yeah.
here.
Because the
See,
because Balak pluralizes with this internal slenderization. Balik.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Yeah. But non-Balik. Opening the doors.
a
A Fosluch.
Fosklundorish.
Non
Non-Doris.
Doras. Non-Doras. Yeah, because oh wait, no. Oh, no. Non-Dorson. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The plural of doors is Dorson. Okay. Okay. But I wouldn't expect you to know that. Yeah. But anyway, but now you know. Lifting cats, a total. We're just talking about it. It would be
Hotch.
chat. Yeah, very good. A total chat. Okay. Uh,
Professor, why would you say hot instead of hotch?
okay. Uh, a total chat is lifting a cat. Okay. So, so this is the form of the. Okay. So, the rule. If uh, for instance, uh, the root pluralizes by slenderizing, uh, then what? Um, then the plural genitive uh, goes back to the singular um, uh, uh, the the singular root. Okay.
Uh,
But uh, for plural, it's lenited. Okay.
yeah. My question was also why the T at the end is pronounced like T and not like
But I'm
CH.
sorry. What?
I was just also wondering why the T at the end was pronounced hot instead of hotch.
Oh, Koch. Okay. Because yeah, because of this rule. Because we're going back to the because the plural genitive goes back to the singular. Okay.
Oh, so
You,
it's
you
also
see, so it goes so the plural genitive goes back to the singular root.
yeah.
And is
Okay.
the ch sound in catch, C-A-I-T, that's coming from the slender
Oh, okay.
I, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So the uh plural cat equals koch. Okay. And so if you have a word like this that doesn't that pluralizes by slenderizing, then you have to go back to the singular. Okay. And that's for both the indefinite and the uh and the definite. Okay. 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 All right. So
Thank you.
uh a total non-cat, lifting the cats. Okay, a total non-cat, lifting the cats. Okay. Okay, so we go back to the singular. And on behalf of Gaelic, I apologize for this being so complicated, but
So I have one clarification actually.
yeah.
Can we go back up
Yeah.
to the one we were just looking at? So at 5, a toggle hot. So
Uh-huh.
what's happening there, just to make sure I'm following, is both that it's following the genitive plural rules because it's an indefinite plural object, and because it can lenite, it's leniting, right? So those are two separate things that are happening as we put that noun into
Yeah,
the form.
right. Yeah. Yeah. If it
Okay.
can lenite, it lenites.
Okay. If it can lenite, it lenites, and then
Yeah.
also it follows the
For
genitive
for
rules.
for the
Okay.
indefinite.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So yes, yeah. So you'll note that it doesn't lenite for the definite.
Okay. Yes. Because in
Uh,
my I was
but
trying to like think
yeah.
about the genitive plural rules and apply them. I was like, but then why is it leniting? And I forgot that it also has solenite. So I was just that makes sense. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And in
Okay.
the indefinite, as you were saying.
Okay. Clever. Okay. And then we have an answer key. All right. Okay. Clever. Okay. So, and then homework. You can choose the correct Gaelic phrase. Okay. So anyway, so all right. So you can go through those. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So any questions? Nope. Okay. Confusing enough.
I know what
Yeah.
I need to practice now. Like I
Yeah.
can tell what I'm
Yeah.
missing that I need to fill
Yeah.
in.
And I know you're afraid that if you ask a question and I give an explanation, it'll be even more confusing. So anyway, okay, okay, all right, it'll come. It'll come in time. Okay, and
English indicates possession in two straightforward ways, by tacking an apostrophe s onto the owner or by placing the word of before it. Celtic languages take a completely different approach. They physically alter the internal structure and the external boundaries of the words themselves. Take two simple English phrases, a bowl of a cat and the bowl of the cat. In Scottish Gaelic, these translate to bobla kite and bobla a kite. The root word for cat is simply cat, and the word for the is on. Here, cat transforms to kite, and on compresses to adding an h. This reveals the Gaelic genitive core mechanism. Grammatical changes are dictated entirely by the gender, number, and spelling of the possessor. The thing possessed, the bowl, remains completely unaffected. To use this system, you have to navigate two intersecting rules. First, a morphophonological matrix that dictates how words mutate based on their initial letters. Second, a syntactic chain rule that strictly limits how many words in a sentence are allowed to undergo these mutations. These rules can look like a random list of exceptions at first glance, but once you map these two systems, you don't have to blindly memorize vocabulary tables. The language follows a strict, predictable logic. We begin with the first major grammatical category, masculine singular nouns. When a masculine noun becomes the possessor, it usually undergoes an internal mutation called slenderization. This diagram is a visual representation of slenderization. The language inserts an I into the final syllable of the root word. Cat becomes Kate. Balak becomes Balaik. That handles the noun itself, but the definite article, the word for the, also morphs. Its form depends entirely on the first letter of the noun it precedes. The most common triggers for this external mutation are guttural and labial consonants, specifically words starting with C, G, M, B, and P. Watch the mechanics. With guttural consonants, the article's N drops, and an H forces into the noun. N knock becomes a chnoik. But T and D resist this mutation. N tai becomes N taige. Vowel nouns simply drop their nominative prefix. N torin becomes N torin. Masculine genitive formation is a predictable phonological response. The definite article interacts physically with the first letter of the noun, changing the spelling. This physical interaction creates a specific set of rules for masculine nouns starting with the letter S, resulting in a phonological split. If the S is followed by a vowel, or by the consonants L, N, or R, the noun acquires a T prefix. In this matrix, watch the word N-sidle. It receives a T prefix to become N-to-sidle. But a hard consonant blocks the prefix. N-scoden remains N-scoden. The reason for this block is physical. A cluster like TSG requires awkward mouth contortions. Forms like N to Scotten are unpronounceable. When a structural rule conflicts with thematic flow, Gaelic prioritizes the physical movement of the mouth over rigid grammar. Feminine singular nouns operate on a much simpler rule set than the masculine matrix. For feminine singular genitive nouns, the definite article is universally na.
Unlike the masculine matrix, feminine genitive nouns do not undergo any initial consonant mutation. They simply take the article na and depend an e or an a to the end. Kirch becomes na kirke. Lach becomes na laka. There is exactly one exception to this clean structure, and it applies only to feminine nouns that begin with a vowel. Placing na next to a vowel creates a stutter in the breath. To prevent slurring, the language forces an H prefix between them. Watch unwinig. As na approaches, it hits a phonetic wall, generating the prefix to form na winige. Identifying a noun's gender immediately tells you which path the mechanics will take. You either route into the rigid na structure, or you navigate the mutating masculine matrix. In the plural genitive, the system undergoes a major simplification. Grammatical gender ceases to matter completely. The choice of the plural definite article is reduced to a purely phonological binary. You use either num or none. The plural article sorts by sound. Nouns starting with labials, M, B, F, or P, drop into the num bucket, nam batichen, nam mathrichen. All other letters trigger the non-condition, like non-kylichen. The noun itself has two possible forms. Standard plurals ending in an keep their plural root, but nouns that pluralize by slenderizing revert to their singular base, resulting in forms like nam balak. Pluralization in the genitive removes the cognitive load of grammatical gender. The rules are dictated strictly by the physical mechanics. The rules we've covered apply to single instances of possession, but Gaelic allows for recursive chains of possession, syntactically referred to as a genitive string. This syntax tree maps how a string is built. We start with a simple two-noun phrase, cat a balach, the cat of the boy. We expand the chain by prepending a new possessed item to the front, spog cat a balach, the paw of the cat of the boy. Notice the anomaly in the middle of the chain. The word cat, which was previously in the genitive case as kite, has reverted to its base nominative form. Expand the chain a third time. Ina spog cat of a lich, the nail of the paw of the cat of the boy. Let's push the chain to its maximum length. Da ina spog cat of a lich, the color of the nail of the paw of the cat of the boy. This behavior is governed by the one per customer rule. No matter how impossibly long the chain of possession becomes, there can only ever be one definite article and one mutated genitive noun in the entire sequence. This single genitive marker is forcefully pushed to the absolute terminal end of the series. The boy, of a lich, takes the mutation. Because the end of the phrase absorbs the case marking, all preceding nouns in the chain are stripped of their articles and mutations. Gaelic grammar operates by predicting the end state. By computing the rules exclusively for the final terminal possessor, the language utilizes a built-in efficiency. It prevents a cascading series of complex mutations that would otherwise cause a total grammatical collapse in long sentences.